flowers can get heated.
All right, everyone, we're going to get started in 1 minute. We have 1 minute to start. Can everyone please sit down?
Kind of hard to hear.
You need to crank the volume.
Oh, yeah. That's too much.
Yeah, I can barely hear you both times. Just want to let you know.
All right, everyone, we're going to get started. All right, we have a little silence. Thank you. Before we get started, may I ask everyone to silence their phones, please? Can I get everyone to silence their telephones, please? Thank you. Just so we know, this will be live streamed from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So anyone that is interested in seeing that later, we can see it later. You have trouble hearing us?
Okay. What?
It's at full volume now. We've got it at full volume.
Where's the speaker? Because that's, I think it's being blocked by the whiteboard.
How about now? Can you guys hear now?
Let me call him. Will, the volume for Climb went off. Yep. All right, bye.
All right. Is that better?
It's off though. There you go.
Will is on his way back. Can you hear me?
Is that better? Can you guys hear now?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we'll be live streamed from 5 to 6. I'm honored to welcome all of you to the celebration of life of Maylan, a friend and mentor to many of us in the room and those joining us on live stream. I must say, in all my years, I've never imagined I'd be tasked with this tall order to open today, but I so proudly accepted. I am Ron Cat, a 47-year shop owner manager, and standing with me is Rocky, comedian, 36-year shop owner. We both are proud to have called Maylan one of our mentors. The formal part of this celebration will be about 1 hour, followed by a reception, and drinks are available here in the room during the program.
Working on it.
The food truck will start
Can you hear
serving
now?
when the program
Okay,
concludes.
something must have, I don't have any idea
This
why.
venue cannot
Okay,
be
hold
more
on.
fitting as
Okay.
Maylan taught many seminars in this very room. He infused this
What'd you
space
say?
with his energy, and I believe we can easily imagine him standing here with us. We thank John and Kathy and the Gustafson Brothers team for graciously making this space available. Maylan was widely recognized in the industry for his larger-than-life presence, engaging seminars, and widely sought-after coaching. I would like to share a bit of Maylan's journey that made him the respected leader that he was. Early on, it seemed that Maylan was destined to have a career in some aspect of the automotive industry. Along the way, he did hold quite a number of positions, with each helping him identify his path and helping him refine his capabilities. Maylan was born into a Navy family with a father that was an aircraft metalsmith and painter. As a child in Hawaii, Maylan was part of the Newton family crew that repaired and painted cars at the family home on the weekends. Before he could ride a bike, he was wet sanding cars. Maylan moved to Moore Park at the age of 5, where he continued to be exposed to all things mechanical, and at 12, he landed his first job in a lawnmower shop. In high school, his talents led him to co-teach small engine repair classes, and following graduation, he attended Arizona Automotive Institute. Graduating in 1976, he then moved through a succession of roles in the industry looking for his perfect role. Throughout this period, he was constantly reading and learning. In his readings, he discovered CANI, constant and never-ending improvement, which he embraced. During this time, he participated in a seminar at ESI, which led to a guest speaking stint at ESI. That exposure hooked him on helping others achieve their goals. He joined ESI as a full-time employee soon after. Maylan eventually bought ESI in the 90s, building it into a premier training and coaching organization for the automotive repair industry. Maylan trained thousands, sharing hard-won wisdom with his sarcastic humor, positive attitude, and his passion. In recent years, he championed technician education, trade school partnerships, and proudly supporting the advancement of women in the industry. We cannot deny the loss we feel today. However, we can celebrate the life of this wonderful man who has left a remarkable professional and personal legacy. With the greatest of honor, I stand here today to be part of Maylan's celebration of life with all of you. Thank you, Sonny and Chase, for honoring me to speak today on behalf of your beloved father. Everyone with us today all share something in common. We all have been blessed and fortunate enough to have met and known Maylan. We all know what a special person he was, how kind and generous he was, not to mention how he inspired us in all aspects of life. I first met Maylan back in the early 90s when I sat next to him in one of my Jim Hunt management classes. At the time, Maylan worked at A&D Automotive as a service manager advisor. The more we talked, the more we realized how much we had in common. You know him. Maylan is just one of those guys you want to talk to. The man never met a stranger. As time passed, we met up repeatedly in more of Jim's classes. One of mine and Mary's favorite memories was the telephone game. Maylan enjoyed playing it because it is so true. I'm sure you have played. We made a row of 10 to 12 people or so, and the premise is to pass along a short message starting at one end and see what happens to it at the end of the line. So in our case, the first person gave a note, and it said something like, Dr. Weber called about his white Toyota Corolla. Needs an estimate on oil change, air filter, and spark plugs. Please call him back as close to 4 as possible. Then that person whispers to the next on down the line. By the third or fourth person, it was already a mess. By the end, it read, a doctor called asking if his blue Chevy was ready because he needed it by 4 to get to the hospital. Maylan would say, if you don't write it down, it never happened. Or he would say, documentation is everything. Maylan and I were continually sharing stories and bouncing ideas off one another, so we can help each other solve our day-to-day challenges we face in the independent automotive world. The interesting part I wanted to share was watching the spark ignite inside Maylan on day one in our first class together. And each time that spark of fire grew. His ability to internalize content and make it part of his everyday life was very inspiring. Then the fire was no longer smoldering and became a blaze. He was teaching. Next, we were all part of learning from his expertise when he took over for his mentor, Jim Hunt. I knew he had some big shoes to fill as a professional speaker, trainer, and mentor, but Maylan grabbed that bull by the horns and took Jim's vision to the next level. I always looked forward to and enjoyed Maylan's classes and shop visits. I got excited knowing I was going to see him. He had a way of presenting material like no other. He made you want to learn. He made it fun. He made it entertaining, enjoyable. Some of the things he would say: Ron, never quote prices over the phone. Ron, build the relationship. Ron, never have an emotional bank account. Always possess intestinal fortitude. Been there, done that. Don't just sit there, do something. Maylan gave us confidence and taught us how to justify charging for what we are worth. Maylan always gave us strength, and after attending his class, I was always pumped up and ready to conquer the world, and the shop, that is. I called this Maylanized. After class, I felt Maylanized, and you all know what I'm talking about. I read the comments on Maylan's passing, and they all said the same thing. Maylan helped me grow my shop. Maylan helped me with my shop. Maylan made me a better person. We're all...
You lost. I think the microphone.
Still on. Check the mic speaker. Like I was playing with it earlier. It seemed kind of loose. Yeah, that one.
Maybe probably. There you go.
We've all...
What? Keep tapping.
We've all been Maylanized. Maylan's delivery was easy to follow, never boring, and made you want to never miss a thing. Maylan explained things in a way that was easy to understand. He was passionate, always engaged, with a twist of humor. He made us think about working smart and doing things to make it necessary to be profitable. He always instilled in us, we must charge for our time. Besides the many classes with Maylan, some of my most memorable memories have to have been our lunches together. Sizzler was a favorite. We talked about everything from car racing, personal relationships, music. AC/DC came up a lot, and I just found out from Sonny, Back in Black was his favorite AC/DC song. He constantly talked about Sonny and Chase, whether in or out of the classroom, what they were up to, how they were doing. He was so proud of them, a very proud father. Maylan was so positive. Even after his motorcycle accident, he spoke about his recovery and how much his progress was doing and how he'd be back 100%. With Maylan's passing, we lost a large part of the heart of the industry and the personal guidance he cast upon us. Maylan not only taught us how to better our shops, but how to be a better person and create relationships that progress through the years. I will never forget my time with you, Maylan. You are a superstar in my life. I will hold in my heart every minute I have spent with you. God bless you, Maylan. And thank you for having such a big impact on my life and helping me become who I am today. I would like now to introduce Dave Allen of A&D Automotive, who is an early mentor to Maylan. After Maylan complained that the service writer at the shop didn't know what the heck he was doing, Dave immediately assigned the role. As they say, the rest is history. You see him, bro?
Well, crap.
This is for the live stream.
That?
Yeah, stream.
Thank you. Well, crap. And holy crap. There's a couple of terms that Maylan like to use quite often. And right now they want me closer. How's that? They would give it 6 minutes, and I've known Maylan for 43 years. You do the math. That's like 8 seconds per year. The only person that can talk that fast was Maylan. So as I was talking to Lauren outside, I said, you know what, Maylan right now is looking down on me and laughing his ass off because he knows how much I don't like to public speak. So he's getting a good kick out of this. So not knowing where to start, as your brochure says, I think I'll start in the beginning. We opened A&D Automotive in 1981, and believe it or not, for a year and a half, we did not have a tool truck come on the property. It was amazing. I assumed we opened a shop, you're going to have like blood in the water and sharks of tool trucks coming in. They didn't. One day we're out in the shop working, and up pulls this nice, shiny Snap-on truck. Off the truck, open the door, off walks this bearded, long-haired Grizzly Adams with a Snap-on hat and glasses on. So being the wise guy that I am, I go, where the hell you been? Well, being the wise guy Maylan is, he goes, obviously not here. And then he goes to say, I'm here now, and I'm here to take your money. So that started out a relationship, and I knew we were probably going to get along because we were both kind of wise guys. So Maylan became our Snap-on dealer, and he really thrived on customer service in many ways. If we live in Simi Valley, it's a pretty good sized valley. If he was in our town and we needed a special tool or something, we'd call him, hey, we need this tool. He goes, I'm just about done here. I'll be right there. I think of that again.
Thanks for your stats.
Stand there and hold it. Don't get shocked. Fix race. Hello. 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 No. Hello. There we go. You got too close. As I was saying, he thrived in customer service. If we needed a special tool or something, we would call Maylan. If he's on the other side of the valley, he would say, give me a few minutes, I'll be there. He believed on customer service and showing up. Instead of our technicians drive to him, he came to us. His philosophy was, I want you working and making money so you can give it to me. Good philosophy, I think. Another thing above and beyond customer service, I have a little story to tell that my partner and I went to a Taco Tuesday. $2 tacos, $3 margaritas. Too many margaritas. So the next day we're in our shop. My partner's asleep in the corner. I'm sitting with my feet up on the desk, trying to keep our eyes open. And Maylan pulls up in the truck. He comes in the office, he looks at us, goes, you guys look like crap. Well, we probably did. We were hurt. He asked what was going on. We explained we were partying too much, had hangovers and stuff. I said, but I got to get up and get this one car done. I got to get a timing belt done. It's got to go tonight. He goes, let me take care of it. So he went out, Am I touching it? That might be better.
Give us up.
How's that? Nope. Hello. There we go. That's much better. So he went out. I didn't touch anything. I touched nothing. Hello. Hello. Hello.
All right, God.
Hello. You need. Hello. 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 You need some 200-mile tape on that thing. Hello. 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 Anybody home? Can you hear me now?
Go ahead and continue talking because we're on the live stream.
Continue talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Do that. So Maylan went out into the shop and started to work on this car that we had a timing belt to do on. I heard tools rustling around, dropping. Can't hear me. Y'all can hear me now? So anyway, he started working on this car doing the timing belt. We're still in the office, and I hear this, oh, crap. So I figure I better get out there and take a look. He's got a ratchet in one hand and half of a bolt sticking out the other end. Well, we all know, we've all been there, we've broken bolts. So I said, Maylan, step away from the car and lay the tool down. So he said, okay. So I thanked him because we've all done that. We've all had that issue. And everything was fine until he turned around and walked back to his truck, and he stopped and says, oh, Dave, I forgot to tell you. Oh, Dave, I forgot to tell you. It's hard to get a...
There you go.
Hello? Can you hear me, Rocky? All right. So he turned around, he says, oh, Dave, I forgot to tell you, I've got Easy House on sale on the truck. And that's when I chucked a half-inch wrench at him. Not a 9mm, because we didn't use them in those days. So Maylan continued on with Snap-on for years. He was also a member of the Chamber of Commerce. At the same time, I was president of the Chamber of Commerce. I was actually on the board of the Chamber of Commerce. And we would go out to these different meetings at times, chamber meetings and mixers and stuff like this. And one day, Maylan and I were talking. I said, you know, it's kind of a bummer. They've got an industrial division. They got a retail division. They got a professional division. We don't really fit anywhere into this thing. And Maylan looks at me and goes, well, let's start one. Okay. So I go back to talk to the president, go on to talk to the board. They said, it's a great idea. So we formed the first automotive division of Chamber of Commerce. To my knowledge, there is no other Chamber of Commerce that has a separate automotive division. In the first 2 years of our existence, we were the most active division in the Chamber of Commerce. Most of it because of Maylan ramrodding this thing and keeping it going. We had trade shows, we had car shows, we had car care fairs with one of my partners here, Ralph, had Ralph's Automotive. We had his parking lot, customers brought their cars in, we checked them out, all this stuff. Maylan just kept a big part of keeping this all going. So as time went on, Maylan decided it was time that he didn't want to do Snap-on. He didn't like the corporate America. So he came to me and he says, Dave, you know, I think I want to start wrenching again. First thing popped in my mind, that timing belt and that ratchet. I said, so against my better judgment, I hired him on as a tech. It was probably the best mistake I ever made. This guy was a dynamo. He would do brake jobs. He'd do 3 brake jobs in time it took somebody else to do 1. And the wheels stayed on the car. So it was good. He was awesome. He did brakes. He did front end work, just bam, 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 bam. In that period of time, I was taking time off of work. I had hired a service advisor. I was learning how to fly and spent a lot of time away from the shop. One day, Maylan approached me. He goes, you know, this guy don't know shit. This is Maylan talking, not me. And what the service writer, well, I had suspicions anyway because some of my customers were kind of grumbling about his way he was doing business. I said, you think you can do it? Yeah, I can do it. It was a natural. He talks, everybody liked him. He knew his stuff. It was a great, movement for me, big help. So the day came when Maylan decided that he wanted to move on to ESI. He'd met Jim and was doing seminars with them, and being a friend and a colleague, I hated to see him go, but I wished him the best. I said, go on, we'll keep in touch, we'll be friends. Continue to be friends. So as time went on, eventually we know the story with Jim and Maylan taking over ESI, and I thought it was fantastic, but we kind of separated for a while because he was getting his business going. And so we kind of lost touch. Hello. So we kind of lost touch. Hello. That one little spot there, Preston. Hello. We kind of lost touch. And after a few years, somehow, I don't even remember how we got back together, but Maylan started riding his motorcycle. And I ended up buying a new Harley. And so we started enjoying riding together. And then, unfortunately, that one December day, we decided to take a nice short ride to Cold Springs Tavern up by Kachuma Lake. But we were going to take the long road, which we did. And we had a pretty uneventful, ran into some hail, some snow, some rain, some sleet, a lot of everything. After we got out of that, it was pretty nice. We got on Fox and Canyon Road and riding along. My good friend Ralph, who has passed away in December, was tailing and I was leading. Maylan was between us, and I turned the corner and they weren't there. So I turned around, came back. I figured they need to take a break. Us guys, you got to go. So I came back to see Maylan's bike laying halfway in the ditch and Maylan in the bottom of the ditch. My friend just got his bike stopped. We're going out to bring Maylan up. We got him back up to the street level. A good Samaritan stopped by, helped us get his bike up. He's standing there. We go, okay, we're going to call the ambulance. No. We knew he was probably in shock. We knew he had to be hurt. His helmet came off. This is his helmet. So we called 911. They got there. They got him on the gurney, and they hauled him off to the hospital. So we got everything tidied up there. My friend and I went back to the hospital. He was already in a room. He was out of emergency in a room. He was pretty well drugged up, but he was coherent. We were talking, and finally he just says, you guys ought to go home. I said, well, I got to do one more thing. I got to call Lauren. And that was the toughest phone call I ever had to make. I called Lauren, told him he was in the hospital. He's okay, but we had an accident. So we came on home. And little did we know, that night we almost lost Maylan that night. He had another serious stroke, and they brought him back. Well, they didn't bring him back. He said, nah, this is crap. I got something to do. I got work to do. I got things to do, and they're not going to take me right now. I got too much to do. So he fought through, came into rehab, worked in rehab, and he, due to his great staff, kept his business going while he was doing rehab and regrouping. As he got better and better, he still had a few issues with sight and balance stuff. He got his business going, up and going again. We kind of lost contact a little bit again. And the same time, my wife had a serious accident, and I taking care of her quite a bit. So we didn't get to spend much time with them. And I knew when Maylan was home, he was kind of stuck. He didn't have transportation. I wanted to be there for him, but I couldn't either. But I could always count on when Maylan was on a trip, when he came home, he would text me, hey, Dave, how's Jody doing? What's going on? And after I would explain to him what we went through, going to the hospital, do this, he goes, what can I do? This is a guy that, with this own type terror, right? What can I do? I'll come over. He can't drive. He's going to get a cab or Uber. He's going to come. That's his first thought was, what can he do? And that's the type of guy that Maylan was, for sure. So he worked through it. He had his business back on track again. About a year later, he comes to me and says, Dave, will you take me back to the hospital? hospital in Santa Maria. I want to go back and meet all the people that took care of me that night. Sure. So we made a pilgrimage back to Santa Maria Hospital, and he found some of the nurses were there that night, and he thanked them all. He had to go back to thank them. I don't know anybody that wants to go back to a hospital, but he thanked all of them. And that's just the type of guy that he was. And years after that, on his anniversary of the fall, we would make a pilgrimage up that way. We actually went back to the crash site finally the second year, and I think it was just kind of a way for him to settle this whole thing and be done with it. So with that, we're going to miss him. We're missing. He's a big part of our business. Our industry's done so much for us over the years. It's a big gap. So we're going to miss you, buddy. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I was supposed to introduce you. I'm sorry. This is Bertie. I heard a lot of things about Bertie from Maylan, and some of them were good. Most of them were outstanding. He absolutely loved this lady. She did so much for Maylan and ESI. I mean, she's just a fantastic person. So, Bertie.
Thank you. Boy, can you hear me okay? Like taller, maybe? I don't know much about this. Does it work?
No?
No? Nothing? Nothing? Okay. Can you hear me now? Well, I can try to talk loud, I guess. Hello, hello. Maylan made it really hard not to love him. He showed up for us. He rooted for us. He always was there and gave you that uncomfortable shove to the edge of your comfort zone. And then he stood right next to you while you figured it out yourself. That was Maylan. He was wonderful. He was wonderful to me and so many of us. Can you hear me? Ah, okay.
Go ahead and continue.
Is it okay?
They're changing the mic, so you do it in a couple seconds.
Thank you. Okay. Well, over time, Maylan and I, we became quite the team. It wasn't titles, it was just trust was built over the donut runs, delivering them to the Burbank Airport staff, or book editing. We had so many hours of long talks, and we just grew close and formed this partnership. I had taken care of my grandmother for about 4 years, all the way through the last chapter of her life. And Maylan came into my life within 3 months of that. And I just happened to fill this role that it came naturally for me. And he accepted it with his natural mischief and smiles. And we just became this pair. It clicked. Is everything okay? Okay, great. So Maylan, I would help him. We would link arms and go through at trade shows. I would just help him navigate through the lobbies and the airports. And he was always just so fun. And this one time, oh my gosh, if you know the Apex trade show, I had pulled the car up to pick him up, and he saw me. And he came barreling straight towards the car and whammo, hit a wrong way sign, bounced off, and kept moving forward, because you know that was Maylan. He was always moving forward. He just shook it off. But you know, I wasn't just helping him. He was also helping me. Navigating public speaking, I have been terrified of getting in front of the crowd. And Maylan was on me for almost 5 years. You got to do this. And it started with webinars, and he would help me in classrooms when he was teaching. He would pull me up to talk just about marketing for 5-10 minutes. And then he helped me with my first full-length gig at Tools, Pennsylvania in 24. Maylan was in the front row rooting me on during that first big presentation, and it was absolutely a door unlocking. He was my biggest advocate, and he just really made me feel empowered. He had a way of doing that, I think, for each of us. He just made you feel like the only person. He and we would talk for hours, and he told me about this dream of having a legacy book. He wanted it to go on every bookshelf in every auto repair shop. And so we ended up calling it The Joy of Auto Repair, kind of a spinoff from The Joy of Cooking. And we ended up actually publishing The Joy of Hiring, which is just one section in this book. It was a much needed in the industry. So Maylan really grew close with me. He was my closest confidant for almost 5 years. So it's a big hole in my heart. But you know, over those years, Maylan would send me videos and pictures of his grandkids and his kids, what you all were up to. He was your biggest fan. Family was his pride and joy, his legacy. And that wasn't his only legacy. He saw a need in the industry. Women were only 3 to 5% of the automotive industry, and yet we're great listeners. We help close the sales, right? As service advisors, technicians, we need to close that gap. And he decided to do something about it. He wanted to fix it. So we started with Dory Epstein, and I was his assistant helping get this live. We ended up starting Amazing Women in Automotive, and it was his passion project. He funded it. He championed us. It was his legacy for Amazing Women in Automotive. And I pledge we're going to carry it on. We're going to grow Amazing Women in Automotive. And when it feels like too much, we're going to take it one bite at a time with plenty of barbecue sauce. Now, if there is time, I would like to read a story that I had found that he had written called Full Circle. And this is about family. It seems we've come full circle from parent to grandparent. Not because I never thought my kids would grow up and have kids. It just seemed to be a thing that would happen someday in the future. I remember vividly the day when my children were born. Although Sunny, my daughter, was first, many of those feelings repeated themselves when Chase was born, such as the absolute terror of being responsible for another human being for the rest of our lives. There was fear of not knowing what to do and when to do it, or how to do it, echoing through my brain. There's a saying that anyone could be a dad, but it takes someone extraordinary to be a father. Over the years, I made many mistakes and have done many things wrong, but at the same time, I feel I've done so many things right. Even to this day, I second guess the decisions that I made. Raising these little people into great human beings is quite a task and a ton of work. I never realized how hard it would be to not only teach them, but to hold them accountable while at the same time showing unconditional love. I think that our most significant dilemma as parents is worrying about our children every moment of every day, no matter how old they are, while providing the very best life possible. I now understand that when my mom used to tell me this hurts me more than it hurts you. Now as a grandparent, I get to watch my children go through the same thing. I'm very excited about this new chapter, not only in my life, but in Preston and Sunny's lives. I know that Indiana is in good hands. Both of his parents are exceptional human beings with great values and morals. There are many, many things that I would like to have a do-over on. However, being a father to 2 wonderful children is not one of them. They make me proud every day. I cherish every moment of every day, whether it be a car full of kids going to basketball and baseball, playing Legos, or reading books. Having my kids travel with me as I work and the long car drives gave us the chance to really get to know each other. I look forward to sharing those adventures with my grandchildren, embarrassing their parents and making new memories. Thank you to family, clients, and friends for all of the love and support you've shown us. Maylan.
I can hear the words you speak when the west wind whispers. I can hear your voice ring clear in the evergreens. Am I who you thought I'd be? Am I what you pictured? Did you have me standing here in your wildest dreams? Oh, oh, oh. Just like a memory, you never left me. You just left too soon. I'll save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels. You're written in my soul. It's your blood that I bleed. Wherever you are, wherever I'll be, I'll save you a seat. So I still get shivers, running like a family car down a Crawford Day. Did you find Mom up there? Tell me, are you with her? I wonder if the ones who go miss the ones who stay. Oh, oh, oh. Just like a memory, just left too soon. I'll save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels. You're written in my soul. It's your blood that I bleed. Wherever you are, wherever I'll be, I'll save you a seat. Keep your room like nothing's changed. Tried that love, but it's not the same. Now damn near broke when I had your name. You had to go, you couldn't stay. So I'll save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels. Did you find Mom up there? Tell me, are you with her? I wonder if the ones who go miss the ones who stay. Oh, just like a memory, you never left me. You just left too soon. I'll save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels. You're written in my soul. It's your blood that I bleed. Wherever you are, wherever I'll be, I'll save you a seat. Save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels.
Well, our in-house IT, my husband, has helping. Before I start, I just want to say I apologize to my uncle, my dad's brother, who was the exact opposite of my dad because we are very overscheduled. And I know that it is making Shaylin's skin crawl. So hi, everybody. On behalf of our entire family, yeah, I have it. Thank you. I have it. Thank you for showing up today. Your presence here means so much to us for honoring Dad and for being part of his story. I'm Sunny, Maylan's daughter. And what a beautiful problem it is to have so many people to thank. I know some have been mentioned and many more deserve to be recognized, but before I get started, I wanted to give two important shout outs today. So I especially want to thank Birdie and Jeff Knott, who stepped in to support Chase and I as we suddenly inherited Dad's business. You've both been an unshakable presence and a lifeline in ways that we'll never be able to repay, so thank you. And to my Uncle Shaylin and my Aunt Julia and John, your emotional support over the last 6 months has meant everything to Chase, myself, and our mom. You've held us up when we didn't know how to stand, and it's been immensely impactful, so thank you. Normally, these things come very naturally to me. Not sure if it was nurture or nature, but Chase and I both inherited Dad's ability to talk. Deep down, I think he secretly loved the very frequent excessive talking reports I received in school. And while it was important to be respectful in the classroom, the response was always, well, this is not a skill you can teach her, so please don't reprimand her for it. I'll admit, I avoided this exercise as long as I could because sharing these feelings into words today makes Dad's departure feel more real. How do you talk about your dad? How do I talk about my dad? How do you summarize a lifetime of memories, of feelings, of moments? So to start, I'm going to tell you about the man who shaped me. Let me tell you about my dad, Maylan. I can still picture us sharing the kitchen table in the morning with the newspaper, and he would hand me the comics section. Our father-daughter dances, hibachi dinners for our birthdays, and then the same donut place we always stopped at in the morning. Some of my earliest memories are being at A&D with Dave and Dad. The sound of impact guns, the smell of race fuel, coolant, oil, those are oddly comforting for me. I'm not sure if Preston loved or hated the fact that I'm so well versed in the car universe, but less to explain, although not easily as impressed by all this race car stuff. I remember going with Dad to the ESI service writer school. Literally, he would make me stand up in the front like this in front of a full class and pitch Girl Scout cookies, and I'm sure a few of you are my former customers, so thank you. He would drive carpool in the mornings, and he made it fun for us. We danced, we rolled down the window, he honked the horn, and we were silly. Hey, Chase, put your head next to the window. He would then swerve, and Chase would hit his head, and I think that explains a lot about Chase. He encouraged our house to be the hangout house. Our door was always open, and the fridge was always full, although candidly, that was probably my mom. And my friends were always welcome. He didn't tolerate them, but he knew them. He built rapport, and he earned their respect. And even though he traveled constantly, I can't remember him ever missing a high school basketball game. I played 11 months out of the year all over Southern California, up to 3 games a day. He was there for all of them and affectionately earned the title of Waterboy. Some of my favorite memories are one-on-one trips, usually a road trip to Vegas. He'd let me pick the rental car, and obviously the one with the most cup holders would win. We'd spend a couple days hitting the arcades and the casinos, exploring all the themed restaurants and lounging by the pool. One of the things I feel most grateful for is the relationship that Dad and Preston had. Mutual respect, shared interests, and just genuine care for one another. One of the rare times I recall Dad actually being at a loss of words was when Preston called to discuss proposing. I'm told the response was silence, probably painful for both of them, followed by a curt, "I'll call you back." At our wedding, I asked Dad to give a toast at the reception and gently reminded him that our guests did not pay to hear him speak, and that technically he was paying for that event. I recently found a copy of his short and sweet toast, and it's actually up here on the front. We have all these really wonderful artifacts from Dad's life, so I hope that you check them out. My dad made me feel loved and safe and special every day, not through grand or flashy gestures, but through his consistency and his presence. His impact came through small everyday moments, and how lucky am I to have had that in my dad. He taught me that authenticity, respect, and genuineness are rare, and they matter. Always find a way to connect with others. To quote, "What you think about, you bring about." Never underestimate the power of just showing up. The only time you fail is if you don't try. The answer is always no unless you ask. And this is when I'll ask you for $100. As many of you know, this was a key lesson in Dad's seminars. Character and integrity are the most valuable things that you can possess, and nothing is guaranteed. As Dave mentioned, we should have been saying goodbye 10 years ago. Dad had his major stroke while riding a motorcycle, an incident he talked about frequently. But we didn't, and Dad got a second chance. And in that second chance, he was able to walk me down the aisle. Worked side by side with Preston at ESI. Met his grandsons. Built a relationship with Kelly, Chase's wife. Formed Amazing Women with Birdie. Contributed significantly to the Skills USA organization. And impacted more lives than we'll ever know. We were all blessed with the gift of more time, the rarest form of currency. I've shared this sentiment with many, but this grief, it hasn't come in one big wave or the expected gut punch. It's been more like death by 1,000 cuts. It's in those everyday moments when I go to call him, when I go to share something about the boys, or when I see something and that makes me think of him. So if I could talk to him today, this is what I would say. I would say, Indiana is your fearless and imaginative grandson. He's taught himself how to drift. He says his car is too slow. And I really hate to admit how serious of a conversation Preston and I have had about actually getting him a go-kart. And how Indy still asks to FaceTime you. Another parent told me that they had heard Indiana talking about doing donuts with Preston and that they didn't realize it was actual donuts until he witnessed it firsthand. I get asked frequently where Sawyer's blonde hair comes from, and I smile and tell them he looks just like you and that he shares your very sassy sense of humor. Sawyer's full of mischief. You'd freaking love it, Dad. He laughs when Preston takes big turns and giggles when we honk the horn, and he loves to jump. I'd like to think that you'd have passed down my nickname of Frog to him by now. They continue to share your love for monster trucks, especially the Grave Digger. We can't wait to take them to Monster Jam and introduce them to something that you and Chase love to do. Chase and I are planning a kick-ass Lego trip in a few years because you were so excited to take the boys. We'll go, and you'll be with us. Dad, you would be so proud of Chase. He's becoming the best version of himself, and I know that because I'm proud of him, and I don't even like Chase as much as Dad did. Over the last 6 months, we've gotten closer than ever. You're still here, Dad, and all of this and all of us. And as I reflected on what to talk about today, it was important for me to talk about legacy. It's not just what someone leaves behind, it's how we carry them forward, how we live out what they believed in, how we act in their memory, and how we intentionally preserve who they are. For my family, that now looks like always bringing candy to the flight attendants, asking to speak to the manager not to complain but to praise, sharing compliments freely, frequently, connecting people in our networks, the notion of matchmaking personalities and opportunities, taking time to truly know our kids' friends, offering help, and doing the right thing, especially when it's uncomfortable. The butterfly effect suggests that tiny action taken in one moment can ripple through time and space to create a much larger, often unexpected result. That small choices or moments can lead to vastly different futures. Dad's life was like that. It wasn't bold or flashy, but it was made up of quiet moments. He was not quiet. Steady presence and simple acts of kindness, offering encouragement, lending a hand, and showing up. But those small things, they added up, they rippled out. He changed lives just by being who he was. I'd like to think of the Maylan effect, more like dandelion wisps versus butterfly wings. That was his symbol for me. When I was little, we'd go on walks together, and I had to stop at every dandelion, blow, make a wish, and watch the soft seeds float away. There's something so fitting about that now for me. He sent out good things into the world, one breath at a time, carrying love, wisdom, laughter, and intention, planting seeds. He may never have seen where all those seeds landed, but we do. We are those seeds, each of us in this room. And how we choose to live from here, that's his legacy. So my ask of you, how will you carry him forward? What part of his character will you choose to live more boldly? It's a call to be kind. You never know the impact. To stay curious. You never know what will lead to discovery. And act, even if it feels small, as big change often starts this way. Keep speaking his name. Share his stories. Smile at his photos and act with his intention. Over the past 6 months, I've been so honored to hear story after story about Dad's impact. Each one has reminded me how proud I am to be his daughter and what an honor it is to carry his legacy forward. This isn't his last page. just his story has changed. Thank you.
Everyone else did. Why can't I? All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so very much for coming. Shaylin, I promise 2-3 hours. That's all I'm going to take. Okay. 100 slides. We'll be all right. But thank you, everyone. I mean, this is I don't even know what to say. I think it's the first time in my life I've ever been speechless. But thank you for showing up, coming, and as Sunny said, all the stories and words and effects of Dad in your lives. It has meant more to me than I have ever been able to know. But we're here for me to tell you what my dad meant to me, which is I have no idea. He was there every day. When I started playing sports in high school, he told me no matter what day the game is at, no matter what day it is, what time, I will be there. And I think he missed one game in 4 years. To me, that meant more than anything else. That reminded me of all the road trips, shows, classes, seminars, everything that I was involved in. I'm pretty sure 99% of the people here know me as the little kid in the back watching movies on some tablet or DVD player. And as somehow, some way, I learned everything that he talked about. Headphones on, watching The Incredibles, but I still absorb some of that information through osmosis. So if anyone here wants to start a study on that and make tons of money, let me know. I'll be your test subject. All those road trips, all those miles, all those hours, Dad and I. Him in the driver's seat, me in the passenger seat, fiddling with the GPS because I wanted to touch things, and him telling me, stop doing that, I don't know where I'm going. But it taught us, let us talk about cars, talk about life, and talk about what we should be doing. I will remember every conversation of, hey, the lottery is at $1.2 million, because, this was back in the early 2000s. What would you do with all that money? Of course, Legos, candy, junk food, and everything else you can think of, and some fancy car. But Dad always said, you got to save your money, son. Even as a kid, those road trips were seen as a chore, not a fun time. Because half the time as well, we would be listening to some other person talk about business. And what 10-year-old kid wants to learn about business when they could be playing on their phone or on a tablet or anything else? Looking back now, those would be my favorite memories. Those will be the one thing I will push on to my children one day. Because at the end of the day, it was time with Dad. And I will cherish every minute, every mile, and every second. And I know we have talked about how Dad knows everyone and can be friends with everyone. I don't think there's a single person in the world that has ever met Dad that didn't say, well, he's a nice guy, I would call him my friend. I don't know how many people I have never seen before would come to me and say, your dad has talked so much about you. At the airport where I worked there, people. And they would say, I know your father. Don't know how that happened. Yeah, goodness gracious. He would continue his donut bringing, but then he would bring 2 because he would bring me some, which was very nice. But now I know every time I fly out, I have to take donuts to those flight attendants and skycaps in honor of Dad. I lost my train of thought. This is very weird. I will make this short because I know Shaylin wants to get up here and do his, and we're a little bit behind. It's okay. Dad, I love you. I will never forget you. You are in everything that I do. Everything that I am is because of you. My professional life, my personal life is because of how you are and what you taught me and how you taught me. So thank you. I love you, and I will never forget you.
Wow. When my brother and I were together and we were introduced to someone new, he was always quick to say, he was the handsome one. As you know, debating Maylan is a contact sport, and so I quickly learned to concede that point. My younger brother was 4 years, 6 months, and 7 days younger than me. In some ways, this was a good age difference because it meant that we didn't have conflicts regarding friends and activities. However, this age difference meant that we were not that close while we were growing up. It seems wrong to lose a younger brother. I think it's easier to accept when someone older than us passes. It's much more difficult when you lose someone who is younger than us, particularly a brother. Even though Maylan's years were unfairly shortened, his legacy is quite extraordinary in terms of the number of lives he touched and the impact that he had on everyone who met him. We all know how fond Maylan was of inspirational quotations. He was so attached to these bits of wisdom that he created his own that we now refer to as Maylanisms. The quotes that are on your table today are in recognition that this was uniquely Maylan's style. I searched for the phrase measure of a man, and while I found a significant number of quotes on this topic, I did not find any that adequately expressed the measure of Maylan. Maylan had an all-consuming passion for helping others become successful. It was his purpose. He put his heart and soul into the seminars and coaching assignments. Maylan measured his success through the success of others, not from his own success. As you've heard, Maylan had a serious motorcycle accident, which occurred when he had a minor stroke while riding, and I'm sure Dave remembers this very well. He attributed the motorcycle accident to saving his life due to the early discovery of the stroke. This perspective on the accident is just an example of Maylan's constant positive outlook on life. From the day of the accident, Maylan focused on returning to work as soon as possible. No surprise. During this time, I stepped up to help with the administration of the business. This time I spent with Maylan allowed me to reconnect with him in a way that would not otherwise have been possible. Perhaps this was another positive outcome of that accident. It surprised me that while Maylan was teaching everyone else how to be successful in their own business, he was less focused on making his own business as efficient and profitable as it could be. As a business person, I found this frustrating. He was brilliant at coaching others to have well-managed and profitable businesses, but he did not always practice what he preached. I say this not as a criticism of him, but rather for you to know that his passion was always more to help others than to help himself. I was in awe of the business acumen that my brother achieved without having attended any form of formal business education. He was a student of life, and his learning came from his experiences and observations of the world around him. He was able to understand business processes and create relatable content to train others. We have all attended seminars where we're given a magic spreadsheet or some process or technique that we are expected to apply. This was not Maylan's approach. He believed that success came with respect for employees and customers, and that accountability for good management was an individual responsibility. As you heard, Maylan's professional journey had many twists and turns as he tried to find his career path. He was incredibly self-aware and honest in assessing the positives and negatives of each role he took on. Early on, he learned that he did not fit in the corporate environment and that he did not like sales. This may surprise you because he spoke at length about sales. However, if you listen closely, his perspective on sales was about addressing customer needs and helping people, not about selling to drive revenue. Maylan was all about servant leadership, where the role of the leader is to serve others, not to be the boss. A statement Maylan wrote for his next book sums up in his own words his philosophy on success. I genuinely care about this industry and about each of you. I put a lot of effort into helping the automotive industry, and I want to help you and the industry succeed. When that happens, I will have achieved my purpose, and that is real success. While Maylan achieved professional success, a more important measure of a man is the family he creates. As passionate as Maylan was about his work, he was even more focused on his family. Married for over 30 years, he has these two wonderful children that stood before you today, and they were his pride and joy, as you all know. When his two amazing grandsons, Indiana and Sawyer, arrived, he became even more energized, if you can believe that. He was overjoyed and took every opportunity to spend time with his grandkids in Colorado. We all also know that he took every opportunity to share how wonderful they were at length. I remember on my last phone call with Maylan that he was so excited about his upcoming trip to be with him. He was planning the trip for February because he wanted to avoid the chaos of the holidays and have quality time with them. It is often the case in celebrations like this that there will be a moment of silence to remember the person that we have lost. As a family, we discussed this and unanimously agreed this was not in keeping with Maylan. He was rarely silent, and the place he loved most was standing in front of an audience. Even without an audience, he would still find a way to be in conversation. No doubt there are thousands of Southwest Airlines passengers who unexpectedly found themselves in conversation with Maylan for the duration of their flight. I now fondly remember the times he joined us during the holidays when he would regale everyone around the dinner table with his stories and wisdom. In his honor and memory, we will not let silence into the celebration. That's a tough part. Now, I will miss my brother, and while careers and distance limited the time we spent together, we had a shared passion for developing others. I regret not being closer to him in these latter years. However, we are now closer than ever in spirit. I will miss his passion, sarcastic sense of humor, and most importantly, his caring personality. There could not have been a better brother than Maylan. We cannot deny the loss we feel today, but we can celebrate the life of my wonderful brother, who has left a remarkable professional and personal legacy. He had a lasting effect on every person in this room. I close by acknowledging that he was the handsome one. I'll now ask Rocky, who is the owner of Beamer and Benz Specialist, past president of the Automotive Service Councils of California, and a longtime friend and student of Maylan's, to share his memories and make the concluding programs for the program.
Yeah, what would Maylan do, huh? Right now. crazy. He's I'm just going to say a couple of things. He always preached, never give up, ever. And he never gave up, ever. But then there's always that time for all of us, right? So, but especially after the accident, he kept going. That guy would not stop. He kept going. Even though he couldn't see well or he couldn't talk well, or he kept going. Never give up. So I think we're going to be closing in just a few minutes. As far as the podium is concerned, food truck is going to be available. I think it's one of his favorite type foods too. Yeah, tequila and well, we have some Ritas, but yeah. Was there anything else you wanted me to say, or are we good? So okay, so after the food, once we settle down for a few minutes, I think Jeff is going to go around, right, and have a conversation with people that want to say something, which is going to be Facebook televised. Facebook. Anyway, it's going to be on the Facebook. So please contribute. This is the time to, tell what you really, really thought about Maylan, which is, I'm sure you need like 3 days or 4 days, but just wrap it up in a few couple of minutes. So I don't know how you're gonna do that, but so thank you very much. Food truck is ready. Thank you.